For those of you who follow the Karen Reed case, I'm sure that you've heard about this breaking information that came out last week about a federal juror by the name of Jessica M. Leslie who had leaked some information into one of the federal grand juries that she sat on. And she is one of the jurors that sat on the federal grand jury while the FBI was investigating the handling of John O'Keefe's death by local authorities, specifically the Massachusetts State Police and the Canton Police Department in Massachusetts. And there's been a lot of chatter out there about, oh, does this have something to do with that case? And I think it's safe to say that it does have something to do with this case. And in fact, the local authorities in the Boston area, their TV news networks and local newspapers have already released that the leaked information that came from Jessica Leslie did have something to do with the police investigation into John O'Keefe's death. And the reason we say that is because, well, the FBI is saying that Jessica's leak timeframe or charge timeframe is August 11th, 2022 till March 4th, 2025. And what do we know? What else happened on March 4th, 2025? Well, that was when it was announced that the federal investigation into the local authorities' handling of John O'Keefe's death was closed. They stated that they found no prosecutorial evidence, no criminal activity, they did not press any charges, and therefore they closed their case. Now, you have people out there saying, well, the lawyers around here say that no case is ever closed. Well, that's kind of their lay way of telling you that no case is ever closed, because cases close, but they can always reopen if they find more information. But as it stands today, that case is closed. They found no criminal activity, which means that they found no evidence or criminal activity that any of those police cops or their boyfriends or their network did it. They found no evidence that Karen was being framed. They found no evidence that police was trying to cover up the fact that it could have been that John's death could have been attributed, from the Boston cops. That could have been his local friend cop group that caused his death. That he was taken into the house the night of the party and in the basement and beat up. Okay, that theory is out. That theory is done and null, because the federal investigation, the FBI would have seen that. Okay, they would have gotten a hold of evidence. I know you guys say that, oh, they've cleaned everything up. They sold the house, got rid of the dog, they covered the pool, they put new flooring in the basement. But as it stands, and we all know the FBI does a thorough investigation, as it stands, that case is closed. And this was announced on August 4th, the same date that the investigation was closed. It was announced on that date by Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan. He announced it in court that day during a pretrial hearing of Karen Reed's case. He announced that the federal investigation into John O'Keefe's murder was closed. And people ask me, oh, you believe what Hank Brennan says? Well, yes, I do, because he was the special prosecutor. And as the special prosecutor for handling Karen Reed's case, he is privy, he's authorized to speak to the FBI about any cases that directly or indirectly could affect Karen Reed. So, yes, I believe it. And it's just not something he made up. He can't just go in front of court, in front of an honorable judge, and just put it on the record that the FBI has closed their investigation. Because I know a lot of you are out there are like hoping that the FBI is still investigating so that they will find something about a cover up and that they will find out that they will find out evidence that Karen is being framed. But no, that didn't happen. That case is closed. They found no signs of cover up, no signs of anyone framing Karen Reed. Okay, so that theory is knocked out. It's null and void. That it did not happen. Okay, the feds would have found out about it. But like they always say, if they do find some more damning evidence or some new news comes up, it can be reopened. But as it stands, as of March 4th, 2024, it was closed and that has not been opened again. So we're going to look into this slow leak of information that Jessica Leslie put out there, and how did it get spread through Turtleboy and onto the FKR group. Well, the FBI is saying that Jessica's leak timeframe or charge timeframe is August 11th, 2022 till March 4th, 2025. So this is the time frame in which she supposedly leaked evidence about the the investigation into John O'Keefe's death. And apparently, she was handing off sealed information months before Turtleboy's April 2023 blogs about the case. And Turtleboy did not publish anything about specific to the federal subpoenas until April 20th, 2023. And that is where he revealed the special federal subpoenas that were going on. So this is kind of the birth, what I call the birth of this whole conspiracy theory, was on April 20th, 2023, when Turtleboy put it out there in his vlogs, in his social media and YouTube, that they were putting out federal subpoenas to have people come and testify into this case of how the local authorities handled John O'Keefe's death. So he thought, okay, this is big news here. Hey, Karen, they're framing you. The cops messed up, and the feds are investigating them, and they were trying to framed you. That's what happened. They framed you. They actually did it themselves, and they're framing you. And this is how it just took off on wildfire, because Karen's defense team and her followers, all blew this out into proportion. This is how the rumor got started, was that they were doing a federal investigation. They must be doing it because they framed Karen, because they know that the local authorities framed Karen Reed and actually killed John O'Keefe themselves. So that day is the birth of the huge conspiracy theory, which I now just blew out with my fire extinguisher, because that did not happen. So they're saying that what likely happened was Leslie shared details with acquaintances on social media, who then spread rumors among the pro Reed network. So she did admit to that, Jessica Leslie did. And that network included Karen herself, her father, close friends, and insiders. By early April 2023, a college friend was texting Turtleboy insider info, and simultaneously, the defense began confirming that a federal grand jury was impaneled. So this is kind of how they found out that, okay, someone here is leaking some information and we got to find out who it is. So, because it was just too much of a coinky dink, that the same exact day that Turtleboy announces that they're putting out federal subpoenas for people to come and testify as witnesses at this case regarding the Canton Police Department, is the same day that the defense attorneys announced that there was a federal investigation that was started. So the leak was unilateral. It came from Leslie, but the transmission network included Karen's inner circle, which used it to prime to Turtleboy. So, yeah, that information was put out simultaneously. Now, you ask yourself, the Jessica Leslie and Turtleboy connection, how are they connected? Well, Jessica Leslie plead guilty portrays her as a juror who leaked details only to friends and family. Just a few days ago, the Media Post blogger Aidan Kearney, aka Turtleboy, admits that he had a connection to Jessica Leslie. July 15th, which was just a week ago, Kearney acknowledged that a former friend of Leslie's sent her a screenshot of a February 2024 social media post about the federal grand jury. He stated in his tweet, "But my source, a former friend of Jessica Leslie, sent this screenshot to Jessica, who confirmed in writing that Proctor did in fact say that." And I'm going to explain this a little further here in a little bit. But basically, what we're saying is that someone in Karen Reed's inner circle, which included Turtleboy, and they're all kind of in that same circle because Turtleboy is the one that's reporting on the Karen Reed case. So apparently, someone within that circle of friends said, "Oh, I heard that Mr. Proctor, former Trooper Proctor, said this while testifying in the grand jury." So someone took a picture of that, apparently a former friend of Leslie's, took a screenshot of that and sent it to Jessica Leslie and say, "Hey, is this true? Is this post really true?" And she confirmed it. She said, yes, he really did say that when he testified. So right then and there, they say that yes, some things will leak out of court. It's not supposed to. The jurors are sworn not to let anything out of the courtroom. However, things do get out sometimes. And they said that the bad thing isn't so much that that information was leaked and that it could have stemmed from her, but it's the fact that she confirmed it. So by her confirming what was actually said during a testimony, what a witness said in a testimony, then that's breaking the law. Okay. So what we're seeing is that Leslie is really much closer to this chaotic leak ecosystem that ultimately fed Kearney's reporting. And so, so Aidan Kearney dismissed Leslie's leak as a nothing burger. So again, just last week, Aidan Kearney posted on his Twitter account at Dr. Turtleboy, and this was about a week ago. So I've got the screenshot of a screenshot. Okay, we'll put it up here. And this is what Aidan Kearney, sorry. This is what Aidan Kearney posted on his Twitter account, X account. Doing a story on this now, but this tweet is from a former Karen Friend supporter who has that syndrome where she got at me and suddenly changed her mind and said KR was guilty. I don't have my glasses on, so I have to look into this a little closer. Okay. And he went on to say the name of the person is Amy DeAngelis on 2/27/24. She claimed to have a source on the federal grand jury and said that Proctor testified that, begin quotes, "I see now how I could have done this differently," end quote. I, Turtleboy, assumed that she, Amy DeAngelis, or whoever sent it to him, who did it come? Can't see who. Oh, yeah, who did Sea Monster, I guess. I assumed she was full of shit. But my source, a former friend of Jessica Leslie, sent this screenshot to Jessica Leslie, who confirmed in writing that Proctor did in fact say that. In other words, many people were gossiping about the grand jury proceedings. This is the leak, and this is why her sentence was 1 day. So Turtleboy saying that this is a nothing burger, and this is the only reason why Leslie only got 1 day in prison and it was time served. So Turtleboy is looking at Jessica being the main culprit, which she was. She's guilty of leaking information, and she basically got a slap on the wrist. Well, she didn't get such a sweetheart deal because this information is a nothing burger. This information that she put out is a whopper. This is a whopper of a burger. And Turtleboy, if I were you, I'd be running to the border, you and Karen, because the feds are coming after you. This is not a nothing burger. And the reason Leslie got such a sweet deal was she's telling on you and Karen. She is talking. Who knows? They probably have her in witness protection. She's talking. She talked. She talked to the Fed. She told him everything. The actual tweet that was put here is, we know Jen's a psychopath, which they're probably talking about Jen McCabe. Proctor, see who, and you can't see the full name of that, D something D. Proctor's rendition would be interesting. Read on his take. And then we get Sea Monster in here. My source said Proctor's response in the, I basically just read this. My source said Proctor's response in the interview was basically, I see now how I could have done this differently. And they stated he walked in confidently and emerged pale and shaken. And they go on to say, funny that no one talks about his 30-day suspension. So, yeah, this is obviously someone from the courtroom who saw Proctor walked in. He walked in confidently. Apparently, he sat down at the witness testimony chair and things were getting real. This is before the whole Karen retrial. Things are starting to get real for him. And apparently, according to this guy, he emerged pale and shaken. All right, moving right along. So, Karen's role. Let's look at Karen's role and why she avoided charges for now. Karen's text exchanges with Turtleboy prove she was a recipient and amplifier of the leaked information. Karen's text exchanges with Turtleboy prove she was a recipient and an amplifier of the leaked information. Yet the DOJ has only charged Leslie and not Karen. And here's why. Legally, leaking grand jury material is a direct federal offense. Receiving it, even passing text, doesn't automatically rise to criminal liability unless it crosses into obstruction or intimidation. But with Turtleboy facing multiple witness intimidation charges in connection with Karen's leak, Karen's text may become critical evidence. Prosecutors could later argue that Karen's facilitation helped Turtleboy build a case of intimidation, making her a potential co-conspirator if they choose to go there. So now they're saying that charging Leslie now, it gives the Department of Justice flexibility and they can evaluate Karen's role later depending on Turtleboy's developments. So as we know, Turtleboy, his hearing has not yet been set. We think they're looking at August, but it's in pretrial stage right now. Locked up within Turtleboy's legal record here are hundreds of exchanges between Turtleboy and Karen, and I think it's going to prove that they together came up with this conspiracy theory. So, yeah, it's looking pretty definite that both Turtleboy and Karen will serve time together in the jail. So now let's look at the Turtleboy strategy. Once he got this information, what did he do with it? Chosen channel, or was he a convenient conduit? Well, let's see. Now, Turtleboy wasn't the original recipient, but he became the public amplifier, well positioned for a scandal moment. His April 20th, 2023 story dropped simultaneously with defense filings referencing grand jury subpoenas. A telling coincidence? Hmm. This suggests either one, the defense deliberately used Turtleboy to set the narrative without breaking courtroom and barges, or Turtleboy got hot leads from Karen's network and immediately ran, serving as the unfiltered vehicle. Either way, Karen legally hedged by not speaking in court, but did so formally via Turtleboy. So, what does this mean now and what's to come? All right, so we talked about the quiet phase leak and how it shows serial sustained leaking, not just a one off slip. The DOJ used that window to build case against Leslie. With Karen in the middle, her participation may expose her to future DOJ scrutiny, especially if Turtleboy is convicted. And I want to make it clear that Turtleboy's upcoming trial is not a federal trial. It's local. I think it's taking place there in Dedham as well. I think he's lives within that jurisdiction. And how did the defense? How did this leak redefine the defense strategy? Well, Turtleboy's outlet wasn't just chaotic. It looks like it was a calculated tool, and the defense isn't just reactive. They shaped the public narrative on purpose. The leak that lit the fuse. Now, Jessica Leslie's disclosures weren't just idle gossip. This wasn't her just saying, hey, Trooper Proctor said this during testimony. They became a spark, a carefully and orchestrated strategy. Karen Reed's inner circle appears to have leveraged those leaks as a deliberate communication tactic, setting the stage for a media blitz that shifted public perception. So all of a sudden people think, oh, it's horrible, she killed her boyfriend, and now she's being framed. The DOJ's decision to charge Leslie first isn't just a cleanup, it's a tactical move that leaves the door wide open so they can reassess Karen's role and potentially pursue indictments tied to intimidation. And then there's Turtleboy. Far from being a rogue actor, he now more looks like a calculated megaphone for the defense and an unfiltered outlet for information others couldn't risk sharing directly. In other words, they're saying Turtleboy has balls. He's got balls because he shared this information that he hopefully knew he wasn't supposed to. But so anyway, this latest development also tightens the net. It confirms Turtleboy's proximity to Leslie Leak Network and raises fresh questions about whether the defense media strategy was improvised as it seemed. If this was a nothing burger, why are federal prosecutors still circling? That's because it's not a nothing burger. It's a Whopper. Next steps is Leslie appeared in court. Well, was scheduled to appear in court. I haven't confirmed or denied that if anything come up because today is July 22nd. And this was supposed to be Jessica Leslie's first appearance, and she will enter her plea. Okay, well, there you have it, the latest development in the Karen Reed case, which was this leak that came out last week uh, in regards to Jessica Leslie, who leaked some information about the federal investigation into the Canton Police Department and Mass State Police and how they handled the John O'Keefe murder investigation. So we now know that it definitely is that exactly was where the information leaked from. It leaked from that case, as everyone was wondering. So stay tuned. I'm going to have some more videos coming out because I like to stick to the truth. I've done a lot of research on the Karen Reed case, and I get my information from reliable sources. I'm talking like ABC, CBS, NBC News, and I'm finding that I get the best news from the Boston area, looking into their area, NBC, CBS, and ABC affiliates there, and also looking at some of their the newspapers there. So I do get it from reliable resources, and I double check my resources to make sure that they are reliable. I make sure I'm on the official site. So yeah, stay tuned for more because yeah, it's going to heat up. So all right, take care and have a happy week. Thanks for stopping by.